Hey there everyone, it's Alex here from VG247.com, and I'm super excited to be able to show you a little bit today of the single player mode of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which of course is coming out pretty soon for the Nintendo Switch. Only allowed to show you 15 minutes, but I can get over quite a bit in that time, just of what the game is like and how it plays, and let me tell you, I really like these single player options. Now, I've always been one of these people who Smash to me is a party game and a fighting game, and those sorts of games are games where single player doesn't really matter to me. In fact, while I enjoyed the cutscenes and stuff, the Subspace Emissary in Brawl, the single player mode there, the big story mode, I actually found it quite tiresome because I just remember playing it basically to unlock characters in order to play multiplayer with my friends and just getting annoyed. But this feels like the best single-player mode that Smash has attempted since the adventure mode in Melee, which I really enjoyed with the platformer stages and stuff like that. But there's no platform stages or anything like that here. There are 3 modes I just want to point out before I get started on my 5 points that I think you should know about these new modes. There's Classic mode, and then there's the adventure mode, which you might also know from the trailer as World of Light, which is basically the story mode. And then there's also the Spirit Board, which is a mode which sort of pulls elements from both Classic and from the World of Light. Now, I'm not really going to talk about Classic mode here, except for to briefly say, it's Classic mode, you know exactly what to expect. Classic mode is a single-player mode where you work through a number of fights, just like an arcade ladder in Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or whatever. Sometimes those fights have special conditions. There's a bonus stage along the way where you're collecting coins while running from like a wall of instant death and smashing boxes to create alternate routes. From what I saw, every character shared the same version of that stage. It wasn't like there were unique versions for each character, but each character does have a unique classic mode series of battles, and each character has a boss at the end, and that boss isn't necessarily the Master Hand. That boss for Duck Hunt Duo, for instance, that boss is Rathalos from Monster Hunter. Wolf from Star Fox gets one of the bosses that was in Subspace Emissary and Brawl and stuff like that. And we were only allowed to play a couple of characters, and that's probably because there were quite a few different bosses. Anyway, I want to talk about Spirit Board and World of Light. And I want to talk about 5 things that I think you should know based on my hands-on time with the game. So now I've spoken about Classic mode, and you've seen a little bit of footage of Spirit mode here already. Let's talk about that. So, the big thing I want to point out is characters not playable in Smash are represented by the spirits. And spirits are basically unique character tweaks designed to give you the feeling of the character that it's representing. So a good example is the chorus kids from Riven Heaven are represented by a crew of giant Jigglypuff that favour certain moves that sort of gives them the feeling of fighting the chorus kids. From Metroid, there's the X-Parasite, which is a virus, and in terms of in the artwork and stuff, the X-Parasite has always looked like orange blobs, like of DNA or matter or whatever. So of course they're represented by Kirby. They're sort of a yellowy orange colour, and these Kirbys, and this is the nice touch I think, they represent Kirby, they represent the X-Parasite by spamming Kirby's swallow move, the move where it sucks you in and steals your powers, because the X-Parasite stole Samus's powers to an extent, and so it represents that way. Or, you know, Ball from Punch-Out, right, is a giant little Mac, of course, but they've changed his attacks, so he's got more powerful dash attacks, super armor on most of his attacks, so you can't hit him out of his attacks. And because it's representing Punch-Out, it's a stamina battle, so rather than building a percentage up and knocking this guy off the stage, you've got to get his HP down to 0 to score a knockout without your HP hitting 0. Speaking of that, of stamina battles actually, another great example of a spirit is, of course, there's a Chun-Li spirit. Seems to me like there'll probably be more than one Chun-Li spirit, because the one I encountered was specifically Street Fighter Alpha Chun-Li, and that is Zero Suit Samus, of course, but it's a Zero Suit Samus who has powered up kicks and knee strikes, so they're more powerful. And also the whole battle has lower jump power, designed to represent the fact that, compared to Smash at least, in Street Fighter, there's a much heavier gravity and a much more realistic sense of jumping, although not that realistic, I have to say. It is Street Fighter. And of course that is also a stamina battle, because Street Fighter is a stamina battle based game. So all that makes sense. There's lots of dumb little cute ones as well, like a deep cut is Swanky Kong from Donkey Kong Country is in the game as a spirit, and Swanky Kong, of course, is the member of the Kong clan that always wears jewelry and fancy clothes. So he's represented in this instance by a Donkey Kong who's easily distracted by items, which makes perfect sense, right? And I just think it's super, super, super cool. I really think Spirits... When I heard the game director Sakurai explain Spirits in that Smash Direct, I thought it sounded like, fine, but I didn't see how it could be special, and I certainly didn't imagine how much of a feeling it could give you for what it might be like if these characters were in Smash. But as a sort of cute little what-if scenario, it feels absolutely perfect, and I really, 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 really love what they've done with the Spirits. Which is good, because point two, I want to talk about the Spirit Board before I get into World of Light. So Spirit Board is basically like a challenge mode, and the Spirit Board gives you a board of spirits, of course, by which I mean these characters that have been adjusted, and you can sort of they've all got timers, and they refresh every few minutes, every 5 minutes or so, and once a spirit refreshes and is gone, it's gone until the next time it appears. So if you're on the Spirit Board and you see a character that you love and you want to get their spirit, you want to grab it quick before it disappears, obviously, and you also want to succeed, because if you fail, it disappears. You can force the board to refresh via like spending some in-game resources. And when you defeat a spirit, you play a small mini game to try and acquire it, which will then let you equip it and use it, which I'll talk more about that in a second. The Spirit Board is just a great way to... Obviously, spirits show up in World of Light, but if you just want to experience some spirits or play some crazy, over-the-top event battles, then the Spirit Board is a great way to do that in this Smash game. And I think, to be honest, it's a really necessary mode, because World of Light is a far more progression-based game. So Spirit Board gives you a way to just experience a quick battle if you're on your own, you just want to play some crazy Smash, and you don't really care about the hardcore competitive side at that time, you just want to play a fun battle. So I really, really like the Spirit Board. So let's talk about World of Light for a second. The World of Light map is huge. It's absolutely enormous. It's really, really difficult to understate just how massive this map is. Obviously I haven't unlocked a lot of the map, but in this footage you can at least see when I zoom the map out how much it zooms out, and the Nintendo reps I know tell me that the map does go right to the edges. And not everybody will take the same path through this map as well. So even early on, we were only allowed to play up to sort of recruiting a couple of characters beyond Kirby. But early on, you just get the choice between a number of different characters, and after you pick one, a path opens up in that direction, and the other two paths that there were get locked off and closed off until, I presume, later on, where when you've explored one path, you can then take the other. Nintendo were being pretty coy about character unlock methods, I want to say, but it seems pretty fair to assume that when you unlock a character in World of Light, you will also unlock that character in the main game. Obviously, you start out with 8 anyway, but a good example is I could have picked up Marth early on, and he's a character obviously that debuted in Melee, so he's not in the original 8. So you can unlock him quite quickly in World of Light and stuff like that, for instance. So that's pretty good. But yeah, the map is absolutely huge. It's gigantic, and it's nice that there's going to be choice. And I presume, because there's 70-odd characters, as the game opens up, you're going to actually be able to go in some quite different paths across this massive map as you work your way towards the boss. Quick note on difficulty as point 4. So difficulty is fairly easy in these single-player modes. So much the same as in Smash 4, classic mode, you sort of pick an intensity, and as you beat battles, depending on how well you do, the intensity goes up or goes down, and you can and if you win, like I say, it will go up, but if you lose a battle, rather than get a game over, your intensity just drops a bit and you retry. The same sort of thing in World of Light, where if you fail, your spirits still level up and stuff like that, and I'll talk more about character progression in a second, but you sort of can just retry straight away, and because your spirits are still gaining experience, your character's still getting more powerful as you play, even if you fail. The spirit board is more difficult. It's one shot per battle. If you fail, that spirit is lost until the next time it spawns, and you don't know how and when it's going to spawn. And it seems like there are loads and loads of spirits. Like, there's definitely going to be hundreds. There could be over 1,000. I could easily see there being thousands. And this is one of the advantages they've got of getting rid of trophies, because they don't have to create a 3D model for each of these spirits, because they're just using artwork from the original games. You can just sort of put them in quite easily, and that means so many games and so many series are represented. Although I do want to note, because there's been a lot of discussion about it, in like a good nearly an hour, a good 45 minutes of single player modes of this game, I did not see a single Square Enix spirit, where I saw loads of Capcom ones, loads of Sega ones, loads of Namco ones representing deep cuts from Castlevania and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know if there's a bit of an issue there, but it was weird to not see any Final Fantasy characters or anything like that. Or Dragon Quest characters, for that matter. Anyway, so I mentioned character progression back there, and my fifth and final point is there's more RPG-style character progression than you would imagine in the single player of Smash Ultimate. So there's leveling up for spirits, so this boosts your spirit's power in general and improves how much it buffs your character. And there's lots of spirits, and you can equip them and unequip them for every battle, so you can sort of level up different spirits. But it also unlocks new slots to equip support spirits, and support spirits offer extra bonuses, like letting you start a match with an item, increase damage on certain types of attack, or raise your speed, and so on and so forth. Spirits fit into different categories, and some are more powerful than others, and the max spirit level is 99. So, although you can stick with one spirit and level it up all the way, you are encouraged to sort of switch it up and switch to more powerful ones, and there's sort of a rock, paper, scissors style type system with the spirits, where some spirits will be better in certain situations. So you'll be encouraged to move around and level up a lot of different ones and stuff like that. As I said before, you're constantly unlocking new spirits and support spirits in both the World of Light adventure mode and the spirit board. So you're constantly unlocking them. I had loads by the time I finished with my little single player session, and there were some really deep cuts as well, some characters I did not expect to see, which is super cool. It seems like, for instance, so many Pokemon are represented, because why wouldn't you put loads and loads of them in and stuff like that? And I think that's really, really, really awesome. Also, there's like if you're familiar with the sphere grid in Final Fantasy X, there's an upgrade system that's a bit like that in adventure mode. So you earn sort of these orbs that you can then spend as you work through World of Light. And this stuff obviously only applies to single player, but this covers stuff like boosting health and attack, but also like high-end upgrades. So at the end of the tree on one end is a double jump, which is a big deal, and will increase your ability to recover off the stage and stuff drastically. I also want to know, the spirit stuff, you can actually take some of that into multiplayer as well, in that you can sort of set up spirit sets, and this sort of replaces the custom moves from previous games, which aren't in this game, in that if you want, and you're not doing the hardcore competitive thing, you can create a custom spirit set for Mario that sort of changes his moveset and makes him more like a different character if you really want. And I think that's a super, super cool concept too. But yeah, that's it for now, at least. Like, we're not allowed to show too much, but I'm really hoping that we're allowed to play and show some more before launch. But the point is, I think this is probably, based on my first impressions at least, the best single player offering Smash Bros. Has ever managed, which is really, really, really exciting. And of course, the multiplayer seems awesome too, and there's lots of characters, but it just seems like Spirits gives you lots of fun, unique fights. And I think, it's gimmicky, those fights, but the gimmicks help to keep it fun, and I really enjoy that. So yeah, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is out in a little under a month now for the Nintendo Switch. We'll have lots more coverage as we get closer to launch, and I've written a preview which has more detail in it on the website. So check the link in the description for that, or head to vg247.com. And don't forget, we'll be having plenty more Smash stuff. So if you want more of that, don't forget to give us a like, give us a subscribe, stick around. We really like it. That stuff really helps us out. It helps to pay the bills and stuff. But yeah, I'm super, super pumped for Smash Bros. Now. Well, I was before, but before I was pumped for single player, and now I know the multiplayer is going to be good, and that's really exciting. Anyway, that's it. Until next time, everyone. See ya.